Sarangees, and welcome to Chasing K-Dramas, the podcast that dissects popular Korean dramas, episode by episode. We dig into the characters, themes, and everything in between. I'm Chrissy Choi, and I'm here with my co-host,
Dulcé.
Before we start, hit subscribe, guys. 10,000 Sarangees, road to 10,000 Sarangees. You know the campaign.
Listen, help Chrissy, help you. Let Chrissy be the change you want to see in the world. Help Chrissy reach her for the World Cup. Goals! That's from the diaphragm, baby.
That's
girl.
pretty good.
Honestly,
by the way, Korea's doing really well right now.
I'm so excited. Are there going to be any places we can watch a game here?
Well, Thursday, I was going to say, I'm going to go with Thomas. Do you want to come?
You know I want to come.
Yeah, are you out of town though?
No, I don't leave till Friday. Are there going to be boys there?
I mean, I think it's going to be a crap show. Like, it's going to be a shit show. So I think we just find like a bar. We could go to the viewing thing, but I think it's going to be nuts. I don't have it in me, but why don't we find a nice sports bar and we could park ourselves? You know, you should wear red. You know, cheer for the team.
I saw a girl on like the TikTok because everybody's talking about how, like, I just saw some white girl was just like, we're about to have a lot of Korean and Mexican babies from what is going down in Korea and Mexico right now.
I know. That's why I'm like, do we go to K-Town? Because I just feel like it's going to be so great in K-Town, especially.
Yes, turn up because
it's going to be nuts though. We'll figure it out.
It's going to be nuts. Well, listen, that's why I'm glad I don't live in New York right now because
I watched that game with a bunch of Spurs fans. I was in Texas for my friend's birthday, and I was in a room full of Texans, and they were just like,
"Well, I was in Connecticut trying to do comedy." And let's just say that second show, I'm blessed for the people that came.
Because everyone was watching the game.
And then thank God, like the game ended after my show ended. Like the game ended like as I think when my show ended, they were still like in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So
it was such a good, you know. So go ahead.
I've never been one to be like I said, I don't really care about.
I don't think you're really sports, but you know.
Well, no, because once I got too old to sleep with draft picks, I really stopped paying attention to sports. But like I said, a nice coach, if we get a nice coach into this, but also you have to remember there were some Sarangees that came.
Oh my God, that's great!
Yes, there were some Sarangees that came, and some of them were all black women that came. They were all Sarangees, and one girl was just like, "Girl, I'm so happy to talk." She's like, "Y'all make me feel seen." She's like, "I finally have like people I could hear talk to about these shows that I've loved for so long. So thank you so much for talking about this." She was so excited. So speaking of our Sarangees, remember to join our newsletter club Sarangees at chasingkdramas.substack.com, where you can get bonus content and read our newsletter for $6 a month. And do not forget to give us a call. Hit us on the hip on the Sarangee hotline at 213-632-6865 and drop your questions and comments, and you might get featured on the show. Listen.
Love it. Okay.
So yeah, we've been
out and about. Go straight in. Okay,
we're going to go straight in
because it's a lot today.
It's a lot. I've been on the road. I'm going to be in this weekend. I'm going to be in Dayton, Kentucky at the Commonwealth Comedy Club.
Cool.
Please come out. Also, I just found out that America is in the World Cup.
Oh no, it was a great game. It was such a good game to watch. Okay. So
I had no idea we were in it, but let's go into it because this was team 2.
Right. So
much.
Today we're going to be talking about Royal Nemesis episodes 11 and 12 from this past weekend. And there's a lot to get through. For the first time in this series, I'm confused. Like, I'm genuinely confused.
Yes.
So we need to first talk about the whole Dan-shim's Seo-ri. Like, what is happening? Let's just open with that. Like, Okay, so we need to walk through it because I'm still trying to understand. So I guess, and we can just combine 11 and 12 at this point. Cat's out of the bag. But, like, I guess I thought that she was in Seo-ri's body, but she was... So Dan-shim has been Seo-ri all along? Question mark?
Dan-shim is in Seo-ri's body. That makes sense because the thing is, everyone else was like, Dan-shim's in Seo-ri's body, right? Because if she left her body, because remember, that was a whole living person beforehand. She had an acting career as a child, parents, and
this
everything.
Is Seo-ri.
Seo-ri.
Yeah.
So Seo-ri had a whole life before Dan-shim showed up. So my question has always been in the back of my mind, where's Seo-ri? Because if this is her body and Dan-shim is in it, where is Seo-ri's soul if Dan-shim's soul is in Seo-ri? So I was thinking that, like,
I don't think that's it. At the end, I don't know. I don't think that's it, Dulce. I think at the end, do you notice in episode 12, she was like, it's been me all along, because she gets Seo-ri's memories back.
But remember, the shaman lady says that there's a woman in Chosun era who is saying that her name is Kang Dan-shim, but she's saying it with a modern dialect. Remember, she cuts to that lady. So I'm just like, okay, did their souls switch? Because remember, there's that clip when she's sitting there having, when she's having the dream about having breakfast with Se-gye, that Shin Seo-ri pops up with Se-gye, and she goes, get out of my body. Your time is coming to a close. Get out of my body. But then, remember, she goes back. So then my question is, if she goes back to her body, but she's been unconscious, my question has always been, where has Shin Seo-ri been the entire time if Dan-shim's in her body? Because they made it very clear that Dan-shim was in her body, because they couldn't have been the same person at the same time, because that means that, or is it a situation where, then the same way, because remember, Telemundo at one point calls Se-gye a crown prince when they're in that argument. Remember?
Well, I think that's basically saying, like, hey, you're you have
a
silver spoon in your mouth.
You have a silver spoon in your mouth, but I thought it was a fun little cheeky little thing. But unless it's a situation where the same way that the soul of, I don't think it's the same soul, because I don't think the soul of that crown prince showed up in Se-gye's body.
Okay, so sorry, going back, I think then, so we have different interpretations, I think. So right now you think at the end of episode 12, that was Dan-shim still?
I think that Dan-shim is in someone else's body. And I think they have switched.
I think Dan-shim is right now, Dan-shim is back into her body in Chosun, right? Because she says, Seo-ri right now, who's with us, she says to the fortune teller, my body is still, someone is locked in my body right now. Like, I couldn't move when I was there. So so that's why I think, and then at the very end, it's Seo-ri, and she's remembering, and she's telling herself, she's like, I thought that I was occupying this person's body, and I thought I was getting her memories because she wanted me to leave, but but I'm realizing now that no, this has been me the whole time. That's how I interpreted it. So I think that what had happened, I was like thinking through this, I think they show that accident that Seo-ri was in. I mean, my God, the family suicide. What the
truly didn't have to happen. Also, I don't like the fact that we haven't seen how she got rescued from that car yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So what I think is happening,
because water always makes somebody teleport.
Well, I think that is when the first switch happened. So I think when she was in the water trying to save her, trying to live, I think that's when Seo-ri and the Kang Dan-shim, they switched. Because if you remember,
when she says she came back after the accident, she couldn't act.
Yeah, her manager was like, it was Palyongi, I think it was basically, that thing, foot acting. It was like, what happened? And she was weird after the accident. And they talk about it. They keep on being like, she was weird after the accident. So that is what I was thinking, is that's when the switch happened. So this entire time, it was Seo-ri. Seo-ri grew up in Dan-shim's body, this Seo-ri, and then she went through everything. So that has been Seo-ri. Seo-ri's the one who fell in love with the Grand Prince, all of that, because they were kids when they switched, but they aged, right? And then it was then when the comet came and when she was
poisoned,
that's when she switched back. That's what I'm guessing, because at the very end, it was very clear, though, to me. She says, I know, it's so confused. She says, I'm Seo-ri. Like, I was Seo-ri the entire time. That's why she's crying. And she's like, oh, my God, because she gets a bunch of these memories, but it was like as if she was remembering her old memories for the first time. But it was her, because she was reading the Halmoni's diary.
So the point, so the points were like she gets like sold, and then she gets sold again, and then she ends up in the palace. That's
Seo-ri. That was always Seo-ri. There was one switch that happened when they were younger. So she has been embodying this person.
So what I'm thinking what happened is there's Dan-shim, the one that gets sold, and then she ends up in the palace. And then there's Shin-sori, who's the actress. And then Shin-sori has this accident happen, and then you're saying they switch. And so that's why when they get into the palace, so that's why Seo-ri is not a good actress anymore, because it's actually Dan-shim. And then she falls in love. And then when there's a situation where, when then the poisoning happens, then they switch again.
Yeah, so they were kids. When they were kids, they switched.
And then as adult, at the poisoning, they switched.
They switched back. Yeah.
And then, but when the poisoning happens, then, so we've got Dan-shim, Seo-ri, and then there's the car, and then they switch. And then so Dan-shim is here. But then, so there's modern day and the past, and then they switch. Now the past and then the
they
present.
Were always kids. So basically what happened as kids, they grew up in their other bodies.
So yeah, they grew up in the other bodies, and then so it's actually Shin-sori who falls in love with the Grand Prince, and then it's actually the other one who's having all these awful jobs and stuff, trying to get back to her acting career.
She was the one suffering.
And then Shin-sori, she gets poisoned, and then so Dan-shim sent back to the past, but now the body's not moving. But then Shin-sori is brought into the present, but now she's the one using this Choson era language because she's been there for so long.
Yeah, but your point about the fortune teller and her premonition of seeing
Dan-shim speaking with the modern day.
I don't know what that was. That to me, and who knows, this could be, I don't know. I don't know when that would have happened. Or maybe that was always her. Maybe that was always Seo-ri. I think that was Seo-ri. That was Seo-ri.
So she was back there speaking with this modern accent.
And that's what she's remembering. And that's why the lady was like, hey, you're not going to disappear. You're there. You know what I mean? That's why she wants to tell Seo-ri that.
Because my kind of like the girl what moment is when she cuts her again. Because like I don't remember when the first cut happened. But
I don't think there was a first cut. I think there was always she had a scar.
Where she has a scar there. And so it's like, we don't know how she gets that scar. But then there's the other cut. Also, shout out to the acting of the lady who plays the shaman. Because the way she is so silly in modern times, but then she is so serious as a court lady. Shout out to her acting skills. But then she cuts her. I was like, girl, what? She cut her. Then she had to drink her own blood in the tonic because I was trying to figure out why can't she move if that is her, because if Dan-shim's being sent back, then that would be her original body.
It is, yeah. It's her body still. Yeah, it's her original body. But it wasn't. But it wasn't. But it wasn't Dan-shim. It was Seo-ri, right? In her Joseon body. The reason why she couldn't move was because she didn't have the vitality. Remember, they kept on being like, she needs the vitality in order to like the soul needs to be released.
Her blood and the chi has and her chi hasn't come back.
That's why she gave her that drink and then she got back. But I do have to say though, this part. It's confusing, but in the beginning of episode 11, I thought it was really creative. I honestly expected her to just like go back and be like, I'm back. I got to figure it out. But her being stuck in a body, I was like, well, we've never seen this.
And not only that, she had to drink a tonic with her own blood in it to send her. But there's always. But think about it. She's been about these blood sacrifices. Like she had the ox blood. She was rubbing on. She was just like, I need this blood to get things to happen. Yeah. And so, because she's about doing a ritual. But I was so happy because we weren't even 20 minutes into the show before she was back.
Because I was like, what's going to happen? But
I was so worried they were going to have her laying on that floor, not moving.
I know, which was like, also that's kind of scary. Could you imagine like not being able to? Like,
that's how I feel like sometimes. My mom said when my uncle was, because they might have had my uncle in maybe a medical induced coma before he died.
Oh, so scary.
She said sometimes he would talk to him and he couldn't talk, his eyes would be closed, but she said sometimes he would cry when she would talk to him. So I don't know if...
That's really rough.
Yeah, bro, unplug me. If I can, if it's just like a
Just
like
let me go.
Let me go to the Lord. If it's going down like that,
let me go to the
if I'm
Lord.
trapped in my get the fuck. Let me go home to Jesus. Because as of this point, it's a machine kid. My brain's not, but it's like I can kind of, I don't know. But anyway, your boy Telemundo is, I'm going to follow your lead, but that was
Yeah.
truly,
No.
it was
Bananas.
very confusing. And then grandma's condition keeps getting worse. But that moment when they were sitting on the bench and she's just like, when is my granddaughter gonna come back? And it's kind of like, but at first it's like, oh, is this reacting to her saying before to her, who are you? Yeah. But then it's also, is this a
Alzheimer's situation?
Is this a senior moment, or
I think it's both?
It's the telling the truth, and then it's a senior moment because it's like Seo-ri is trying so hard, and I was so glad when she told him, I'm gonna go back. Well, I'm glad she told him. I'm glad she didn't keep it to herself, because she was like, what's gonna happen to him when the body switch and I don't know who he is?
Well,
what's gonna happen?
I wish she would have explained a little more.
I wish she would have explained it more.
What do you mean? He got really upset with her, and all she needed to do was tell her, like, "Hey, I don't want to go back. Like, I think this is out of my this is out of my hands. Like, it's gonna force me to come back. And I wish she would have just explained what she thinks her theory is, because he gets really upset and he drops her off without even usually.
I knew he was gonna drive off without saying something, and I was like, please.
But
Se-gye really just pulled off.
A couple things about there were some issues I felt with the character development of this. So I don't understand why Se-gye. I understand Se-gye is really, really excited to be with Seo-ri. He loves her, but I also feel like on the business side of things, I feel like he has let his eye off the ball a bit too much with this whole Telemundo. The resort, by the way, I think the resort is, someone said, resort is the new meal kit. The resort is the new meal kit.
The resort is the new meal kit. It really did come out of nowhere, because it's like, I just don't understand. I am glad that she woke up quickly. I'm glad that grandpa wasn't out until the very end, but this is the new meal kit. Can we
just go back to his his character development, because a lot of it just didn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that I understand he's hyper focused on Seo-ri waking up, but he isn't paying attention to his grandfather, which I find odd, because we all know that. I hope he thinks that this accident wasn't an accident, and it was most likely Telemundo, but he wasn't.
But remember, he was sitting in there, and the aunts accused him of it immediately.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they did it, and the fact that the aunts left, the aunt and Se-gye, they all left Telemundo with the grandpa, I find crazy. Someone should have been guarding Haraboji the entire time. And then the Haraboji, having the memory lapse, that makes sense. But I guess my point is, I don't understand why Se-gye
hasn't been to see grandpa.
He is supposed to be this killer corporate person, right? He's smart, wicked smart. Why is he so lax about all of this? And at one point he tells Seo-ri, he's like, oh, all I need is you. I don't need my business. No, that's not that's
I didn't understand. I think what's happening is, because Telemundo asked him, are you ready for everything I'm about to do? And he was like, yeah. And I don't think he was ready for everything that Telemundo was about to do, because Telemundo was hitting him from every single side. Because because here's the thing, Grandpa got hit, Grandpa got hit by, Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Grandpa got hit by Grandpa got hit by the white truck. Then his business was accused of carcinogens. Then he's getting accused of murder because of the nurse's dead. And this was all within 2 days of each other. I think, so his business folded, he's being accused of murder, and his grandpa's in the hospital, and his girl is in the hospital. And I think I think it makes perfect sense that he was just like kind of like he couldn't do anything, because also now that the business is under this, scrutiny, it looks like his money is froze up. Like, it's all of these things at once. Because Telemundo asked him, are you going to be ready? Because how do you deal with your business folding, a murder charge, and then two of the people that you love being in the hospital at the same time because they got attacked? I also don't understand why he didn't come at Telemundo immediately and accuse him of this.
So that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. He never said anything. He should have warned the family about Telemundo. He didn't do that. He didn't warn his grandfather. But to my point, like, I understand a lot happened to him, but my whole thing is this. If you know he told you, hey, I'm going to be after you, and your grandpa and Se-ri, they both get hit by a car, you need to be protecting Se-ri and your grandfather at the same time. And he just didn't do that. And I just don't understand that.
I don't understand why he wasn't in Telemundo's face, because I thought he would have.
And then I thought the aunts were more, and then
I knew the aunts. I think the family is so suspicious of him. I don't think he can warn anybody about
they're
Telemundo.
They're suspicious because he took over. That's why they're suspicious, and that's the big thing. Again, it got to the point where he became the chairman. He usurped the power from all of the blood siblings, or like the blood children of grandfather, which is an insane thing to do. This is why I'm saying, like, I understand he's like up. There's a lot of things happening, but like they're like you gotta like 정신 차려, which means you gotta like focus. Like you're about to lose your family's business to this guy.
Well, and then it's like he shows up to the aunts with like budgets and stuff. It's like I feel like the aunts are so flaky. Like they don't have.
Well, I think they were doing little embezzling. It seems like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Pocketing stuff.
Well, that's how I've always heard this thing was like it takes 2 generations to lose a business.
Oh, well, it's about to, and then, but, we talked about Telemundo, like we didn't understand what his motivation was to be this evil, but I think after that little chat with grandfather before he, but before he went under, that's reason enough. He was mean to him. I was like, oh my goodness.
He said, I am only nice to you because of my Dulcé, because my little sister brought you over. But then it was just like, oh, I always thought that it would always be great if you were my father. And I'm just like,
he was like, you were a debt to me. That's what he says. He was a debt. I'm like, oh boy.
My sister, because he was like, I would love to come over here. You live like this, you live like that. I would have loved to live here. And it was like, I understand. But for him to be like, because I think grandfather always knew. He said, I could tell. He said, I saw that look in your eyes when you were a kid.
Said evil eyes. So the aunt said the same thing. They're like, you have evil eyes, evil eyes. They kept on saying that, and I was like, it's true. The actor does have some evil eyes. He can go cute and then like real scary very quickly.
Shout out to casting. Shout out to casting.
So good.
But it's interesting that the grandfather always knew what he was.
Yeah.
But because that makes me think in that moment with the glass. I think it was probably the grandfather was like, okay, I need to protect my grandson.
I need to be watching. Yeah.
From his cousin. And even the grandpa was like, I should have loved him more. I should have done this. I should have done this. But I feel like if the grandpa would have done more.
Then Telemundo would have gone crazier.
Telemundo would have been more nuts and more upset with the situation. Because I'm surprised when he said Chairman Harapaji said all of that to Telemundo. I'm surprised Telemundo didn't throw him in the lake then. I'm surprised.
I know. I thought he was going to at one point. I think he was peering over when he was in the. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna cut the tubes. I was like, he's gonna off him.
I was so worried about him pulling the thing, but then like when Grandpa woke up, he was upset, and it's just like, oh, a man like that don't say sleep.
So, the other thing too is I want to talk about Taehi.
Let me
think. Just what in the world?
What is she for? What is she for?
Well, why is Se-gye partnering with her? Like,
because he has nothing. Because his business has folded. She has coins, and the thing was, what has Telemundo wanted? He wanted those two to not merge, and so she was like, "Hey, let me help you." And so, but I have to remember that Se-ri came to her and was just like, take care of him for me, because she's like, I'm about to be out.
So this is the noble idiot trope, of course.
Ting.
We're here for it.
And so honestly, it's been a while since we've seen a woman do Noble Idiot. So, shout out to equality, shout out to women in STEM. We're so excited about that. But it's...
Didn't Tadim do it? Or we're making that up in Dynamite Kiss?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did.
She did. So we're starting to have more women do Noble Idiots, which honestly, sure. But...
I think that's a common. I think actually the women's stuff, and like thinking back on it, they take turns. Everyone does it. Everyone does it in K-dramas.
You know what? I'm excited. Like I said, women in STEM. And so it's Taehi being a fun little mole was fun, but then it was like them getting to the meeting and him not having like any materials, and he was like
so petty. I like that made me laugh.
Because he just goes, "This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Are y'all kidding me?"
But the Tay thing too, the random scene with her mom and her being like, "I understand how you turned a blind eye to father's philandering, not philandering. Oh yeah, being cheating,
a cheater,
and now." I understand. I'm gonna turn a blind eye because I love him, and I'm like, you don't love him. You just met him. What is happening?
He is a goal. He is a goal for you. You know what I wish there was? A Chosun era equivalent to Taehi. I wish that there was.
I know. I thought she was gonna pop up. So honestly, I really thought these two episodes were gonna go back in time, back to Chosun with Seo-ri navigating that, with Han-shim like figuring it out. But we find out that the crown prince died, as we expected.
I mean, didn't I say everybody dies in exile?
I know.
Everybody dies.
Sad.
You're not gonna make it to that island, baby. You're not making it to Jeju Island.
Sad. And she pined after him. But I'm excited though. What is at the British Museum gave up. They pillaged Korea. They gave up his diary, and I'm like, what's gonna be in there?
What's in the diary? You know what? I was telling a Uber driver that I went to the British Natural History Museum.
Yeah, it's all pillaged. It's all pillaged.
Well, they started giving stuff back.
They have to, yeah.
So when I was there,
are speaking up, yeah.
So, I think these countries have been speaking up the whole time, and they were just like, "No, we got a museum. Where you gonna put it?" Was basically the defense.
Bitch, I got a museum too. I built a museum.
Built a whole fucking museum. Get my shit back. And so there, I went to. It was like 2022. I'm in the British Natural History Museum. It basically there's like just parts of the building that are just like this exhibit is closed. This exhibit is closed.
Because they had to give everything back.
That's what the plaque said. The sign said,
so funny.
"This exhibit is closed because we had to give this back to this country, and this exhibit is closed because we had to give it back to this country."
So
and it was like, okay, I'm glad you had to give it back, but one of them I read, I was like, this is a little sassy. Like, it was like they seemed annoyed that they had to give back the stuff that they stole from this museum. It was like, because at one point I was like, well, why are they open? Like, I was there with another comic, and because we were out there shooting a show, and we were like, hey man, y'all could have just closed half this building because half your stuff, I'm glad you gave it back. I'm very glad you gave it back. But you didn't have to put this sassy ass sign up here talking about we gave it back. They wanted their stuff back. How very dare they? No, it's not like you took their ball and went home. You took their history and then kept it on for 200 years.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But Taehi, I'm surprised there is not a Chosun equivalent. I would have loved for there to be. Even if it was another court lady trying to fight for his affection, even if it would have made more sense if it was a crown princess popping up, being like, I know you in love with him, but I'm going to marry him because I'm a crown princess and you are just a maid. So I feel like and also I think it would give her character a little bit more depth because right now she's doing stuff for the sake of doing it and it truly doesn't make any sense.
And then a couple other things that I thought were interesting was, her rival Chiho. There's a moment where she comes and comes to see her when Seo-ri was still unconscious or in a coma.
Yeah,
and then that's how we learn that she changed dramatically after that accident. We learn about the accident, but you could almost see like she almost has like, it's a weird connection. It's not obviously it's not friendship, but I think she does feel.
She said she saw her as competition, and when she came back, she wasn't competition anymore. And then she said, and I felt lost.
Yeah, So I think her coming back and becoming competition again really opened up a lot of like stuff. I thought that was interesting. Oh, speaking of the friend too, you remember you were like, that friend's weird.
Did not tell you.
You did, and guess what? She's a lunatic. What is happening?
I told you it was the friend that cut up them clothes. I told you, but then you talk about, so you had questions when it came to like, you know, the Dan-shim Seo-ri body swap. My question was when she said, "Oh, wardrobe's looking for you in prop storage," I knew immediately something was up, because why the hell would wardrobe want you to come to prop storage? Then when you find out she's padlocked in the room, I was like, okay, I'm waiting for the building to catch on fire. I'm waiting for the building to flood. I'm waiting for, she just got drugged and now she's just stuck. What the was that even for?
Also, why did they even lock her? Is she just supposed to be unconscious? And also, can we talk about how she was drugged and then Se-gye just takes her to his house, and I'm like, and she was okay out of no, like, I was like, shouldn't you take her to the hospital? She was unconscious, you know, like what's happening?
Well, because she was like crying, like, what am I supposed to do? I don't think he knew she was drugged. I think he just knew she was scared. I don't think he knew she was drugged, because remember, she dumps the water out. And then the other lady dumps the water out. I'm telling you, I knew there was something up. And then she writes "die" on her house.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so is she, do we think she's connected to Telemundo?
But does she need to be connected to Telemundo? Because Telemundo also already has Harmony's land. He wanted her to split up the fake marriage, the fake engagement.
Yeah.
So why would he need to do anything to her?
But then what's the point in her? Like, why is she out of nowhere doing all these, like, I mean, I guess she's always been jealous, but this part felt a little like, unless, well, I hope she's part of Telemundo though, because that makes a little bit more sense than her just being like, you know.
Well, remember when they were on set and she said to, what's her name?
Chio, the rival.
Chio. The rival, Chio, that she says to her, "Oh, remember we were in a commercial together when we were like little kids, and I was playing like the tree in this commercial," and she was like, "Okay, girl, yeah, you want something to drink? Like what? Thank you for the water. What?" So when she did that, that's when I knew, oh, she's gonna be a problem, because she's obviously been acting alongside them since they were kids. And now she's also some like supporting actress who really doesn't have any lines. But yeah, I don't know. I was like, when she was smiling, like, oh yeah, I'll eat it, and da 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 da. I'm like, because one thing a K-drama is good for is a conniving ass best friend.
I know. Well, they definitely took that off. But, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, we kind of they mentioned this in the first 2 episodes, but if you remember, Seo-ri, when she came back as Dan-shim, or when she first comes back, or first comes to the future, I mean, she knew, she had spidey senses. Like, she knew there was danger. That was like a whole thing. But then what happened to her? What happened to her senses? And I was like, huh.
Because she beats up all of those guys at the
she beat people. Yeah, she's like,
because
a
she could
fighter.
like detect maybe being in the modern day.
It's getting rubbed off.
As getting
being, like becoming Seo-ri again, maybe. I don't know.
Is dulled her senses. Maybe. I mean, it's probably all this processed food. You know what I mean? It's probably all of those sweets that she spent all her money on.
She's having too much ramen, and she's having way too much like bang.
It's too much bang. It's too much like processed food, and it is dulling. I do love when he made
weird. That part. I forgot like all about her having. It's either like a writing thing. I don't know, but who knows?
You just think they just forgot? I did love when they had breakfast and she put down like bacon and eggs and toast, and she was like, "What? You need soup to warm your heart?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say." Here you go.
Very sweet. But I can't tell. So again, these episodes confuse me. I can't tell if these are just writing hiccups, but I just
this is the time where writing hiccups usually happen.
Yeah,
though.
well, it's definitely happening, because I wish there was a little bit more spark to Se-gye right now. Like, I just don't understand why he's just like a love torn, like a, you know what I mean? Like, I want him to fight back a little more, which I think towards the end he's going to do. It seems like, but because, yeah, the whole. Anyways, what?
Sorry, because like remember he jacks up Telemundo when he sees the contract and then tears the contract up. And then Telemundo is after that like, oh, I sent the bulldozers and they can't stop even if I call them.
Yeah.
So, and then she's standing there and I was just like, he can't go any faster in kilometers than he has. But, you know, she has that weird moment with the memories. Also, can I say... the montage with her and grandma was too long.
Well, I think that montage is to show that she's remembering. That's why it was long, because I think it's like a pivotal moment where we're supposed to realize like she's always been Seo-ri the entire time. That's why they spent time on it, I think.
So then did she just lose her present? Are you saying she got in a current day accident and lost her present day memory?
I think so. I think the accident. Well, yeah, because. What do you mean the current day accident? Sorry.
Well, she's saying if Dan-shim and Seo-ri have been the same all along, then then how did the switch of the souls happen?
We just talked about it. It's when we think. Well, we don't know yet. My prediction is when she was in the car, locked in the car as a little girl, when her parents committed suicide.
What I'm saying is that Seo-ri's memories are now starting to affect Dan-shim in the current day, and I guess. Because I guess the veil between the two is lifted.
But it's not Dan-shim though, it's Seo-ri. Like at the very end, we know that it's Seo-ri the whole time. So this isn't Dan-shim. Seo-ri was always that, you know what I mean? It was always Seo-ri the entire time.
So then who's Dan-shim?
Dan-shim is the person that she became, that's the person she swapped with.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's, if this person is starting to get, when she arrives, when we see her arrive, she says she is Dan-shim, but then she learns she's in the body of somebody named Seo-ri.
Yeah.
Right. And so she is living her life, but she knows the entire time she is from the Chosun era.
She thinks she is, yeah.
And so she goes to see, I don't know. You have a theory? I don't understand.
I think the theory is that this theory is based off of, at the very end, you know, you said, oh, you felt that the grandma scene was too long, was Seo-ri. She's having that reaction. She's crying because she realizes that she was Seo-ri the entire time. And that's what she says in the dialogue. I've been Seo-ri this entire time. What you're asking is, how does she remember? Like, how does she forget all of those previous memories? I'm assuming, like, how does she not know that that was her? That's what you're saying?
Right.
I'm guessing, because we don't know yet.
But also, it's also, how does she know that that was her? And then bodies did swap. So
they did switch, but I think it's because of the accident. So her parents doing the family suicide, I think that's where it all happens, because she does drown, it seems like. We don't know how she's saved, but I'm assuming that was catastrophic enough for her, or like the event was so intense that she probably forgot stuff. You know how people when they
because the manager says to her, are you starting to remember the accident?
Yeah, because I think she's forgotten. So she has amnesia of some sorts because the accident was so brutal, right?
Right.
And I think the manager's asking about the amnesia is because maybe, so again, if they switched up that point, then that means the real Kang Dan-shim came into Seo-ri's body. So the Seo-ri that was the real Kang Dan-shim in Seo-ri's body. That's why she went from being able to act really well to not act, and she forgot everything. So that's why her manager's like, oh, are you remembering? You know?
Right, because then grandma started, and this is the other thing. You see memories where grandma, where she's not the age where the accident happened, is when she's really little. Because grandma probably had her the whole time, and then she's like, oh, they took her to Seoul. Oh, she looks skinny. I hope she's eating.
But that was always Seo-ri, right? That was before the swap. So that was always Seo-ri. Yeah. So that's why she's remembering stuff.
I understand that. So what I'm saying is that so let's track it this way.
Yeah.
You know what? Never mind. Let's keep talking about the show.
No. I think this is the part everyone is confused about. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. But at the very end, I know that she was like, hey, I'm crying. I think I'm her. And I'm like, oh my God. So this is why it's so confusing.
Because the other thing she kept saying is that your body's going to swap back. The comet's the reason your body swaps souls. But then it's just like, well, because once I saw the water, I was like, okay, so something happened with the water, because Swole's always switching water, because Mr. Queen, all these other shows, if somebody's body's going to Bon Appetit, Your Majesty, the smallest amount of water out of a plain bathroom in the sky made you go back to the Chosun era. So water's gonna make you move.
Yeah.
And bands will make her dance. And so what's the next talking point?
No, I mean, this was it. I mean, these are, I think, the biggest moments. I mean, there's like funny moments too, but I think we talked about the key stuff. It's like, what in the world is happening with Dan-shim and Se-ri? Who are they? How did the switch happen?
Right.
What is happening? Here's the thing. There's a lot of we have 2 episodes left, but there's a lot that needs to be explained. So like, who knows? I mean, I'm pretty sure, again, at the end, she's crying. I think it's her. So it's like, then what the F has been happening this entire time? I don't know. This is all just like conjecture.
What I'm thinking is it's Dan-shim, Se-ri grows up, car accident, they swap. They keep growing. So you're saying they swap, because I'm like, there's no reason to show this accident in water if something didn't happen. They swap. She comes back. She can't act because it's actually Dan-shim, right? Mm-hmm. But grandma is raising Dan-shim, and then Se-ri is in the past. And so she ends up being sold to people. She ends up Dan-shim ends up in the palace, falls in love with the prince, becomes, old boy gets exiled, then she becomes the powerful woman that she is. Because I always want to call somebody a femme fatale. And then she is just trying to, and then Dan-shim in the future is trying to make things happen. But
yeah,
if they've swapped as kids and they have to start assuming these identities, then eventually what happens is Se-ri becomes Dan-shim, Dan-shim becomes Se-ri, and then when they switch back, then you've got the original Se-ri back in original Se-ri's body, but she has lived as Dan-shim, and then you've got Se-ri and then you've got Dan-shim in the original Dan-shim's body, but she's been living as Se-ri. So now she's back in her original body.
I think so. Yes.
And that's what you mean. And so that's why it's that's why the memories are constantly stopping to a certain point, because this is when I lived here the first time.
Yeah. I think so.
Well, because I think when you were explaining it, I think there was a layer of it was the identity had to be assumed, because now it's like I have to just forget who I was in my previous time period. Now that I've flipped around, and then now that I am back, I would have forgotten who I was. But now, if she's back in her original body, that means that the old Dan-shim, right? Original Dan-shim is in Dan-shim's body. Right. And so that's why she was frozen. So basically she was like, and so when they're saying, so hold on, I almost think I got it. So now the original Dan-shim's back in Dan-shim's body. The original Se-ri's back in Se-ri's body. Even though they've been living in the other person for so long, they think they're that person. And so now she knows the dialect, all the Chosun era stuff and all of that. And then the modern one has now been thrown back to the past where she should have been in the first place. And so now now when she's saying, get out of my body, it's actually, that's not her body that she's trying to get back into, but she's been in that body for so long, she thinks it's hers.
So I think that dream was just anxiety. I don't think that was that wasn't Dan-shim. That's Se-ri making it up. She's dreaming and it's her anxiety. Because she's terrified. Because she, at that point when she has that dream, she thinks that she is Dan-shim in Se-ri's body. She doesn't know that she was actually Se-ri the entire time. So that's her anxiety coming up, because she's scared about losing Se-gye. She's scared about leaving in 2 weeks when the comet disappears. So that's where that's coming from. You know what I mean?
I do think there was another way. There was a way to. I mean,
again, we don't know. So meaning
we don't know.
I think this is me thinking through it, being like, this is so confusing. This is what I think is happening. Mm-hmm. But my God, could you imagine? I'm wrong,
girl.
That'd be so funny. But
I also feel like that when we were talking about when she was saying she was leaving, I don't think he gave her a chance to give her a further explanation. But I think she should have started with, I got to be truthful. So listen, the comet, right?
Yeah.
The comet is leaving in 2 weeks. The comet is how I am here.
Yes.
When the comet leaves, I will also leave. But we haven't had the big, we needed another misunderstanding. So there was the misunderstanding where she was like, oh, he didn't call me, even though she said, don't talk to me. So we needed another big misunderstanding. Telemundo and this kid, because everyone's talking about the son. I think we're talking about, like, who is this baby? Who is this boy's mama? Where is Mamie?
We don't know. We don't know any of that. So we're kind of getting a little bit of Se-gye's family history. We know that his mom, Se-gye's mom was the actress who's very pretty. She died. She was ill. She sent him off. We see that, but we don't know anything about. We don't know the significance of Telemundo's like family, like the wife or the kid. We don't know any of that. It's just the only thing I think the only important thing with Telemundo is that Haraboji is really antagonizing him right now. Like Haraboji being like mean to him does not help the situation. And I think in the very end, when he approaches him, he's like, I know what you're doing, fool. Like you're like, oh, he's going to go even crazy. Because that is not going to help, Well,
because Grandpa approaches his old colleague.
Yeah, the guy who turned on. Yep.
In the parking garage. And I'm just like, here's my thing. When Grandpa was saying the memory loss thing, I didn't believe it.
Oh yeah, I thought he was lying. I thought he was just testing the waters.
Oh, I think he is too. I think throwing out Se-gye, throwing out the sisters, the daughters. I was like, nah, he playing everybody now.
But again, I wish the temporary guardian thing was wild. The way Telemundo, I was like, this is why I was upset for like everyone. I was like, I'm upset for Se-gye, but it's like, Se-gye, bro, what are you doing?
No one's doing anything.
Step, like, this man is a step ahead of you. He has been a step ahead of you every time. You kind of understand his shenanigans. You're a smart guy. You're a smart self-starter. You created your own company. You're not an idiot. So this is why, again, I'm annoyed with the character because I'm just like, what is happening? He's just turning into like a big old.
But when he was in that police station, he flexed on everybody because I'm like,
so I'm just like, so this is again, it's like a character thing. Like, I don't know. And this is again, 11, 12, we understand we're like in the wilderness, right? The wilderness period of any drama. But like, I just wish it was a little bit more consistent here. But again, overall though, this drama I love. Like, I'm not complaining about the drama. I'm just saying like, I just needed this to be a little bit more locked in, but there's a lot, though. I think we hit pretty much everything, but I think the next 2 episodes, there's going to be a lot that they got to go through. There's a lot of unanswered questions for this to be the third to the last episode. You know what I mean?
Because
there's a lot.
We have to figure out if because...
how, where, what the crap? Like, what is she? Is she really her? Is that really Seo-ri? Like, where's Dan-shim? What's Dan-shim doing? Is she really stuck there? Is she going to be free?
Because once the blood is restored, because she was like, it's going to make the souls move. But, because she's like, once everything is.
Also, poor Dan-shim. We don't see her. If this is the truth, we do not see her at all. Like, who is Kang Dan-shim, Like, who is she?
Right. And then who is this person who spent most of her life? Because, like, this character's in her 30s. That was like, so she spent 20-something years.
Yeah.
That one in the past and this one in modern time.
I know.
So is the comet going to is the comet no longer being there going to yank them back into bodies that weren't even theirs in the first place? Or is it that maybe they were always in the wrong bodies? And then they got switched. And the switch that happened in the car accident was supposed to happen.
and now they're back, and now they have to go.
And now they're wrong.
It's too much. That's too much.
But also, here's the other thing we're still missing is that they still have to meet each other as kids. So they know each other in the past, but they haven't met each other as children. Like, we still need another layer of something, because there always has to be this extra layer of, our parents knew each other when they were pregnant or some shit like that.
Well, also, like, I want to know why, like, her parents. Well, I guess we kind of find out why her wanted to commit suicide is because they were in debt and stuff. But
how much debt do you have to be to kill? Like, it's like, but then they were trying to kill her too, and I was just like,
yeah, family suicide's terrifying.
And it's like, also, why did you give her? I was like, 2 pills. That's not enough. That's not enough. Also, y'all were driving pretty damn slow, so I was like, oh, shut electric windows. But like, it's all of that was ridiculous. Who's going to? Oh no, it's gonna be like Queen of Tears, and a young Se-gye is gonna jump into the water and save her.
Oh my God! If they do that, I'll be like, go away. I'll be like, Se-gye, what are you even doing here?
A young Se-gye has to jump into the water and save her. He was sitting there. He was fishing with Grandpa.
He was fishing with Grandpa. Yeah.
He was fishing with Grandpa.
So funny.
And it's either Se-gye and Telemundo or Grandpa has to save her. One of Grandpa's bodyguards has to save her. But yeah, somebody has to come save her out that water. Who is it going to be?
Okay. Oh man, I really hope they don't screw the pooch. You know, I don't like it when they screw the pooch in the ending. It was so good.
You know they're good about jumping a shark.
Oh man, I am like, but
because he had the dream about his past life, right? And so when this artifact shows up, because his diary has come from the British.
Who is he?
The diary has come from the British, and so is this, because he already, but he was like, I believed you and all of this make-believe stuff, and now you're just going to leave me. I did all this. I made a fool out of myself. And some man is always talking about making a fool out of himself for just liking you. It's so annoying. But it's, this artifact has to do something, because either this artifact has to do something to, because she saw the love note, right? The picture of her that the Grand Prince did.
Note, but I think she's never. Yeah, we haven't seen the diaries. I think that's going to be really interesting, and I wonder. And it's interesting that the news, whatever the news clip played while he was in the car, and he's the one who heard it, not her. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm assuming that it's going to be him who discovers it. Se-gye's going to discover it and read it, but. Yeah, but I think we hit all of our points, and we're just gonna have to see, like, and then tell us, Sarangees and our listeners and fans, like, if you think this theory is correct. I just genuinely was really confused. So,
confusion, confundido. How do you say confused in Korean?
그냥 너무 헷갈렸어.
All in words.
헷갈리다.
All of that.
이해가 안 되고, like, I 그냥 좀.
Yeah, I was like, did I? And I was on a plane when I was watching it, so I was just like, I don't know. Maybe
you and I both travel, so I was watching it like at my friend's house. I was like, I have a little break, and then I watched it at the airport as well. So yeah, maybe we just have like travel brain, and we're like,
yeah, that makes sense. But she was like, I've been her, and I was just like, did I read this wrong? Because I'm at 30,000 feet. Like, no, is this a translation thing?
I was really confused, and just. But again, fantasy can be confusing. Although we always say, the mechanics when we're like, when we're creative execing. If I'm working on a project back in the day, my notes would be like, the mechanics of it, whatever you're working with, whether it's time travels, body switches, like the mechanics can't be too confusing because you're going to lose people. And I think this is where they're kind of like, that's why it's kind of muddying everything. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they'll have, but yeah, I don't know if they thought through the process, but the more simple, the better. You know what I mean? So that's why everyone jumps into the water. Like, that's pretty much like, okay, I jumped in the water, Yeah,
because water is transformative, and there's so many things about it we don't understand. How is it steam? That's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. But friends, we will be Sarangees, fans, listeners, we will be back next weekend with the last installment of Unnies React about my Royal Nemesis. I have loved this show, and I hate the fact that it's only this many episodes. This is one of those dramas where you're just like, y'all couldn't have gave me like 16. Y'all couldn't have gave me like 18. We could have gotten 2 more. Y'all couldn't have gave me at least 16, at least 20. I'm not trying to go full, historical where it's 60 episodes. We don't need to do all of that.
No.
But what I truly hope is, because you hate when they screw the pooch, I hate when they give us a bunch of wrap-ups that don't make any sense.
I know.
So I just want, I think it's what you're prediction for the next episode, because I think they're gonna have to wrap up they're gonna have to wrap up Telemundo. They're gonna have to wrap up Taehi. They're gonna have to figure out where to put Grandma. The chairman's gonna have to find a way to get rid of Telemundo, and then get Se-gye. Like, what is?
I don't really have many predictions because honestly, I'm a little still confused about what all of this is, and I think we'll have a better idea. But I think we just have to hopefully like watch and pray. But again, we'll be back next week, and I think it's going to be a big one. And then we will try to record. Probably we could just try to aim for Sunday. I don't know. You're traveling?
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have to do it Monday. But yes. But we'll be back, guys, next week, and we'll have a full reaction time to the finale because I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of thoughts. So be sure to tune in. Okay. So we'll talk to you guys later.
Sarangees.